Press play.
Replay, replay, replay.
You're watching Play Replay with Async. Today I want to talk about some of these new movies that are coming out in 2024. Some of them are probably going to be great, and I think most of them are not going to be the best. And it doesn't seem like there's a lot really coming out. Because recently we got this list, and it just gives the dates and kind of how the year is going to be planned out for all these things. So it's kind of interesting that we got this, and I just figured I'd kind of talk through this a little bit. Not everything on it I'm going to talk about. I'm looking at my little list thing here on my iPad. But some of these things are interesting anyway. So I'm going to kind of start off with the things that I'm most interested in and kind of move through that way. And if I look down like this, it's because I'm looking at a screen and the camera's up there. So it's kind of like I'm back and forth. But before I do all that, please hit that subscribe button and like the video if you enjoy what I'm doing here. It really helps out my channel, helps everything grow. So that's something that I feel like I have to say a lot, because I don't say it enough, because I'm trying to grow this channel, and especially now in this year, I'm trying to get this thing more visible and more things. So I just figured I'd just mention all that. I don't want to talk forever about that. So anyway, like, share, and subscribe. That being said, let's get to the information that I want to kind of convey through this, and that is the movies. Okay, so Dune Part 2 on March 1st. That's something that I'm probably most anticipating and kind of hyped to see. I'm also a little scared that they're going to not get it right completely, because, I mean, the first part was cool, but without the second part, it's basically one movie, the two pieces put together. So without having the second part work perfectly, the first part will fall. You know, it's like the first part is interesting and makes you want to watch everything, and it's filmed and shot so beautifully that you just don't want to see it fail on the second part. That's my thing, and it's in March, so that makes me happy because that's my birthday month. So anyway, so I figured I'd mention that. That's kind of my top thing on my list here. So Dune Part 2. And I think that's a lot of people's number one thing that they're waiting to see, because that's been postponed and held off for so long that it probably is going to look really well made now that they've had enough time to work on the special effects and everything around the movie. And I think it's going to be like 3 hours. It's going to have to be, to wrap up all the stuff that's got to happen. But the next one I'm curious about. I'm not sure if I'm going to be pumped to see it. I just am curious about it. And that is Ghostbusters Frozen Kingdom. I think that's what it's called. Anyway, and that comes out on March 29th, at the end of March. So in March we get two maybe good movies. We'll see. I'm sure Dune will be good, but I don't know about Ghostbusters. The first one of the newer ones, Ghostbusters 4 or whatever that last one was, where they're on the farm. I watched that one and I liked it, but I didn't think it was great. I'll put it that way. It was good enough. It had the Ghostbusters in it. That was cool. It took place on a farm far away from New York City, so that was kind of weird that would be tied to the New York stuff that happened, but whatever. It was a fairly decent movie. It felt like Ghostbusters. It had elements of the comedy and Ghostbusters and kind of the stuff, all the same stuff. But the new Frozen Kingdom one, I just have yet to really get pumped up on this movie until I see more, or until I see the movie and know what's going on in it. So I'm just kind of holding out hope that maybe it is a good movie. We'll find out. Because I mean, nothing's going to really beat the first Ghostbusters movie, because the soundtrack alone is just gold. And I mean, I used to have that record when I was younger, so I'm dating myself. I'm pretty old, but that was a just a cool movie, great sound effects, a great soundtrack. I mean, and I just enjoyed the first Ghostbusters movie. The second one, it's okay. It was more of Ghostbusters, but it wasn't as good as the first one. So, and I'm not going to get in and talk about all the Ghostbusters movies. But yeah, so Ghostbusters Frozen Kingdom, March 29th. It might be good. We'll see. Next one I want to talk about is Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. This movie, I did not expect this was even coming out this year. I seen the commercial. Conveniently, the commercial dropped immediately after Godzilla -1 was released, I think. And I think that was like them trying to tie them together in people's minds so that they're just like, oh, this Godzilla movie's great. -1 is amazing. So this one is going to be good too. I don't know about that. American Godzilla Kong movies are kind of, I mean, they have cool elements in them, but they have too much of that American feel. It's like the humans in the movies are just kind of irritating. Whereas Godzilla -1, it has good human story that makes you actually feel for the characters. Whereas the American Godzilla movies, King Kong, whatever, that franchise in America, is more or less just kind of cool battle sequences, cool destruction, but it kind of makes Godzilla into a good guy, and King Kong is always just like, coming up beside him, and it's like, we're gonna, I shouldn't say always, but in the last movie, Godzilla versus Kong, they kind of came together, and now it's like they're gonna be bros or something. I don't get it. And now Godzilla has like pink spikes on his back. Now I know that's a thing that has happened in the past, but when it's in America, in Hollywood's hands in America, you really got to worry about that, because America is good for putting agendas into things more than any other country now. So I just fear that Godzilla is going to be transgender or something, or they're going to do something with him, and that's going to make, I don't know, he's going to lay eggs. Who knows? I don't know. It's just going to be a weird thing, because why did it turn pink? Because I don't remember in the other movies him having pink, whatever, spikes coming out of his back. I think they were bluish or something like that. I can't remember. I have to go back and watch them again, but I never really noticed that until now. So that's a new thing. And the Kong thing, I don't know what's going to happen with this movie. So that's another one I'm kind of up in the air. Is it going to be good? And the human elements are always the most boringest part in the American Godzilla / Kong movies. And I mean, Godzilla -1 just makes all of the movies that they're making in America with Godzilla look horrible, because Godzilla -1 just did it right the first time for a lower budget. They just didn't even mess around. They're just like, this is a great movie. Here you go. Now it's a classic. It's like, so what are they going to do that's going to outdo that? I don't know. So moving on. I don't want to talk about Godzilla Kong forever. Now here's one I'm not going to go see probably, because it just kind of irks me a little bit, and I guess it bothers me, and it has a little bit of that woke thing to it, and that is Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. Okay, Mad Max is not in this movie. The franchise started from Mad Max, so obviously you have to include his name in the saga, but it takes place years before, and it's talking about Furiosa, the girl from the last Mad Max movie that was in it. So now we're moving away from Mad Max, and we have to have a tough girl, of course, because Hollywood just loves to make tough girls. They basically write them as men, and then they just hire a woman to play the part and have her not have any emotion, anything, so that you don't have any feeling for the character at all, and they just basically are just boring. And that's just the way I see it. So I'm not a big fan of that. So I probably won't see the movie just because I'm just tired of this change the main character into a woman. That's a new and creative idea. It's like, no, they've been doing it way too much lately. It's just insane that they have to keep. I mean, ask Marvel how many females are in Marvel right now over men. I'm pretty sure that you're going to find out that there's a higher percentile of women in Marvel movies now than men, including their shows, because I'm sure somebody's going to be nitpicky. But yeah, so I don't care if a woman's in a movie. In fact, I don't even care if a woman is badass in a movie. Sigourney Weaver in the Alien franchise was badass before all these people tried to go woke and say, "Oh, the first female." I think Sigourney Weaver kicked ass, and everybody enjoyed her. Men, women doesn't matter. We thought Alien was awesome because she was literally taking them on. Never had a problem, right? So I don't know why they're so shocked. They're so obsessed with this put a woman in it, but whatever. But this list is the time of this video is getting long, so I need to move on. Okay, so the next one I want to see. This one actually is on my actually want to see list, and this is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Now, I've liked all the other Planet of the Apes movies. I'm just a sucker for a Planet of the Apes movie, so I'm gonna have to see this one too. So this is May 24th, and we haven't really gotten any real story elements in the trailer, but I just think that Planet of the Apes, it's and now it's owned by Disney, but it was a Fox movie originally. So let's see how that goes. I don't think Disney messed with it, but we'll see. So we'll find out if that's a good one. I hope so, because I really like the Planet of the Apes movies, and this is the beginning of another trilogy of Planet of the Apes movies, I guess. So we'll see how this goes. The next one is A Quiet Place Day 1. Now, A Quiet Place Part 2, the beginning of that movie was basically Day 1. So I don't know, are we going to just get an extended version of the beginning of A Quiet Place Part 2? I don't know. I just wonder what they're going to do that's going to make it more interesting than what we got in A Quiet Place Part 2. So I like the Quiet Place movies. I think they're good. I don't think they're super great, but they're fun to watch anyway. But yeah, we'll see. And then the next one I want to talk about is Deadpool 3, because that's going to be the Marvel movie, basically the only Marvel movie next year. Or this, I shouldn't say next year, in 2024. So that, I think, might get some butts in the seats, because you get Wolverine in the classic costume. And I'm sure you get other X-Men and all these other things going on in there too. So that's cool. And I believe it's rated R. We'll see if Disney allows it to continue being rated R. And they're still working on this thing. The actors and writers strike slowed this thing way down. So let's see if it actually gets done in time. And hopefully the special effects don't look like crap, because Disney has had a problem with that in the last few movies. So anyway, the next one is another Fox, I think, owned franchise that Disney got, and that is Alien Romulus, and that's August 16th. I don't know what to expect with this. I'm sure that they will have a female lead just because they just have to do that. I don't know. And I don't care if they do. I just think that I don't know what they're going to do with Alien to make it more entertaining these days. I mean, we've already seen Alien done in so many different ways. The only thing that I could see that would make this more interesting is if they just started bringing Alien to Earth and basically had an apocalypse on the Earth with aliens. But I don't know if they actually would do that, because I just don't know. That might be a lot of special effects, a lot of money, a lot of stuff, and that might actually ruin the universe that they're in too. You know, if Earth is destroyed by aliens, where are we going to go with that story after that? You know. So anyway, that's kind of enough about the alien thing. But the next one is Transformers 1, just because I am a Transformers fan, a Generation 1 Transformers fan. I grew up when the Transformers were invented, basically. So I got to see them in their original states when they actually looked like themselves and not a bunch of shrapnel and metal parts everywhere. So Transformers 1, a lot of people talk about this that don't really know what they're talking about. And they're just like, well, it can't be another live action movie because they don't actually read the stuff. No, this is an animation, and it takes place on Cybertron. And it takes place when Megatron and Optimus Prime, I think, were friends or whatever. And then this is kind of the story of how they became divided, and the Autobots and Decepticons went their ways and kind of started the war. I believe that's what they're doing in this. So it's kind of like the beginning of the war for Cybertron type of thing, which is kind of cool. But the designs, I hope, look good. Because when it comes to Transformers, I'm always scared now because these live action movies always get the designs weird. Like they'll do a good looking Optimus Prime, and then they'll have Wheeljack will look like a klutz in one movie, and in the movie right before it, he looked just like he should in the G1. So there those stuff like that, and it drives me nuts that they just want to change it up and goofy stuff like that. And I don't know if it ties into the Bayverse because half the people that are working on these movies don't know if these things are reboots or just tie into the Bay movies, it seems like. So we're having that problem a lot. Rise of the Beast, they didn't know if it was going to tie. The director said it was basically a reboot kind of thing that was just taking place after Bumblebee movie. And then the producer came out and said, no, this is going to definitely tie in to how Optimus Prime was in the Bayverse. And it's like, oh my God, you guys have to get your story straight before you go out and talk to people. Because you're just confusing the audience, because a lot of people didn't like the Bayverse. So you're telling the Bayverse people that like the Bayverse, hey, this is this, and then they're like, oh, hey, and then you got the producer coming out and saying, no, yeah, this is, it's confusing them. And then the people that like the Bumblebee movie in the beginning sequence where they're all G1 looking and they look great, those people you're kind of telling to F off, when you tell them, oh, no, this is going to be Bay stuff. And it's like, oh my God. I mean, we could kind of tell where it's going anyway, because Bumblebee just stopped being a Volkswagen Beetle, and then he became a Camaro, which he was in the Bayverse. So we already kind of know that they're probably going down that road. So whatever. I don't want to talk forever on these movies and stuff, but I just wanted to hit all these main ones. Now there's other ones coming. I'm looking at my list, so if I'm looking down, that's kind of why. I mean, we got the second Joker movie. That's going to be like a song based movie, sing along, whatever. Anyway, I don't care. I don't really care about that. You got Sonic 3 coming up. We got Beetlejuice 2. I don't know. Some of these movies I don't think are going to be good, but we'll see. We got Venom 3. Don't care. I didn't even care. I didn't like the first one even. And if Spider-Man's not in it, don't tell me, okay? So yeah, Kraven the Hunter, Gladiator 2. I don't even care. Yeah, there's just Karate Kid. I don't care. None of these are probably going to be good. But that's my thoughts on these movies that are coming out in 2024. So I don't know what you guys think of them. I'm sure some of these you guys want to see. Some of you don't. I don't know. But tell me what you think in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for watching.